Welcome back to AkamaiTV. My name is Nelson Rodriguez. If you're trying to stand up a large-scale OTT service, you have probably gone through a classic debate. And the debate is about whether or not you should be using a monolithic provider that gives you everything end-to-end, or whether you should take everything in-house, or on the other hand, whether you should sign up with a dozen different vendors and try to manage all those individual contracts. And the fact is that some folks have provided a fourth answer. So GNL's founder, Alexander Leschinsky, has built a successful business by being a systems integrator who can provide a lot of best-of-breed solutions with one single source. Alexander, a lot of your customers have thousands of people on staff, right? You work with some really big companies, which means they can do almost anything. Why don't they just take everything in-house?
Well, there are several aspects to the answer. So one is that their focus and their foundation actually is to produce content. And not to be a technical provider of any service. So while they are by law required to produce very different content for the different parts of Germany and for the different interest groups, there is no obligation for them to do the actual technical implementation. So it's difficult to justify the effort to do everything themselves and to keep a team busy and working on it all the time. And I think the second part is that what we do is rather efficient. So the time that we invest in preparing for this job and the money that our customers have to spend on us is well spent, because they get quick answers, they get a rock solid service there, and we're not wasting their time, not wasting the time of our partners. So I think in the end it's efficiency and cost effectiveness.
You've got 2 decades roughly of a business that has provided the solution for folks. Have you seen the debate come and go, sort of in and out of taking things in-house and then going outside over the years?
Yeah, it's always a struggle between those extremes, and it often depends on who is in charge, what the reorganization of the company is bringing. So it's like all the things that you also have in company organizations, where you tie in everything to central and decentralize, or flat hierarchies and high hierarchies. So the same is with monolithic systems and doing everything with partners or doing it themselves. So it fluctuates. Yeah. I think the difficult part is to know that you have the right system. There is a bigger fear of missing out, so that they don't know if they have, for instance, they're very happy with the quality that they get from us, but they don't know if something else would be better unless they try. And some have tried and have failed, come back to us, and others are going to try out things in a lab environment and then see how difficult it might be in production. So yes, it's a to and fro.
I thought fear of missing out was only a Facebook trend.
No, it's not. I think it's my NAB theme here.
Yeah, fear of missing out. Actually, I do wonder, as you're interacting with your customers and other folks in the industry, what are some of the worries that they're expressing? What are some of the pain points that they're dealing with?
So when we talk to them, there are 2 things we hear most of the time, and the first is cost pressure. Yeah. So everything has to be cheaper. They want to keep the quality up, but they're very cost sensitive, as everybody is, but they are dealing with public money mainly, so they have to justify all of their spendings. And the second thing is that they had some very bad experience in the broadcasting area with a vendor lock-in, so they are very about trusting one vendor so much that he can screw you in the end. So, and that's where they want to have transparency and know that they can exchange everything if they need to. Currently, they don't see a need for that, but they want to be assured that they can if need be.
And now, I know you've talked to me about this in the past, this topic of DevOps and APIs, and the fact that in many ways services are easier to interchange as customers see fit, based on how easy it is to interface with different services.
Yeah, that's completely true, and it's already accelerating. So we see no service comes up that doesn't provide an API, and you can tie in these services so easily now, and can experiment with things, because it does not cost a lot of money to bring something up new, try it out in a new combination, and if it works, it's fine. If not, you just do the next iteration, and things have accelerated so much due to the endless options of using APIs for integrations.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about your partnership with Akamai. Obviously, you've been working with Akamai for a really long time. How did it come about, and why is Akamai still a key partner for GNL?
Okay, so it's been a very long time, and to cut the story short, when we tried to find a service and had to make the first decision if we build something ourselves or do it with a partner, I always say I Googled for a company, but it wasn't Google, it was Alta Vista at that time. Yeah. So I found that company Akamai that has just founded their office in Munich, Germany. So we contacted them and worked with them, and the experience was great from the beginning. Then we had the tragic 9/11 that proved that everything actually that was marketing promised really worked. And from there on, it was a rock solid basis for what we do. And over time, we learned that with Akamai we can often lay back and be at ease because things basically are working all the time. So it's a very relaxed experience that we have with Akamai that we can provide our customers with.
That's very nice. Yeah, that's good to hear. I do have a question about something that you and I have talked about off camera, which is the topic of machine learning and AI. The role that you play in delivering content to end users puts you in a position where you have lots of information. Right? You get to see viewer behavior and the way that particular formats interact with particular devices, which gives you an opportunity to do exciting things. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so first of all, I learned that if you use the term AI, it's marketing, and if you use machine learning, it's more engineering. So
I see. Okay,
I tried to stick to machine learning.
Yeah.
So it's rather that I think we sit on a really big opportunity there because there is so much information buried in the logs that we and our customers have not barely touched so far. And as we have billions of log files per month that carry information about the players that are being used, the devices, the timely behaviors over time and over months and weeks and days, the usage patterns, completeness of shows. So when do people stop watching a certain episode, and what does that tell us about the content of the episode? This information is deeply buried in this information here, and you can only cover that with machines. It's too much information to do it manually. So the usage of machine learning algorithms and methods has been democratized so much. So it's so easy to start with that if you know what you're doing. So it's a steep learning curve to understand what you're doing, but then you have so many ways of doing it today, and it's very easy to make first steps there.
Expand on what that means. So when you talk about using machine learning in the video workflow, what does that unlock? What are some
so
possibilities?
The first thing, for instance, with what we started is we take all the logs that we get from Akamai. We take the logs that we get from the player. We take the logs from our monitoring systems like TouchStream, which we use to monitor the streams. So we have various sources of information that all come down to the same viewing experience or to the same signal chain. And then we can lay them over on a timely basis and see where are anomalies. And this is something that machine learning is pretty good at. So it can detect if something is going wrong, and then you can take human experts and have a deeper look into what actually has caused that.
And it sounds like what you're describing is using machine learning to improve the viewer experience.
Yeah, that's one thing, one part, yes.
But I feel like there's also the possibility in the long term to expand beyond that. Because you're talking about in some ways making bitrate decisions or encoding decisions, but with the kind of information you have access to, you could potentially get into making decisions about viewer preferences and viewer habits. And
yeah. So our customers struggle because they don't have a user login, so they don't know the user. However, we can derive who is a single user by extrapolating the user agent and the IP address for a certain time frame. So this gives us something similar to a user identification. And we can use that to derive clusters of content that people tend to watch together. So the source for a recommendation engine is in the logs. And currently most of our customers are doing it more like an editorial system. So the journalists sit down and think, okay, what could be of interest in their personal view and what they know from their business, but we have the data source that could add to that decision. And we intend to work on that to provide our customers with more insight into what the data is actually telling them.
Yeah, that sounds like it has a long-term potential to really change the nature of the business.
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Sure.
Alexander, it's always a pleasure to spend time with you, as you know. Thank you so much for being on Akamai TV, and Akamai TV will be right back.